Hello, welcome back to ministry, and today we are talking about Deborah Cox. The Lord gave me this song a couple of days ago. I was listening to the radio, and we all know this song. This is like the breakup song of the 90s, and all of this. But the Lord kind of brought it back to my attention after I did that word on the building of a house. And I felt like it was a necessity to come through it to see what it was he was trying to say, not only for our relationships, but for the building of the house that he is trying to build within us. So let's go through this and see what the Lord's trying to say. So it starts off. It's 2:20. You know what that means. How did you get here? Let me address that 2:20 since we're here. 2:20 is the statement in which Naomi says to Ruth that Boaz is the kingdom redeemer. Now, that how did you get here? When Ruth came to Bethlehem, Boaz was shown her. If you look at certain translations, it said shown with an E, and it means the same as the word shown. I mean, he saw her ahead of time. How did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. The time in which we spent with the Lord brought about a spiritual connection within our secret place with our God-ordained spouses, in which they were able to connect to us in a place of secrecy. I've tried that love thing for the last time. A lot of us were over love. We wanted it, but it eluded us. For them, every time they came into a relationship with it, they didn't know what the true meaning of it was. And the last time was the last time. If that thing didn't work, they weren't going to deal with anything else. Some of them stayed in relationships that long needed to be ended because of the fact that there was no real love there. It was just a waste of time. Or the Lord allowed them to be in that experience for the period of time he allowed them to be in that experience before he exposed the truth of that person for who they were in that. Next, my heart says no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you came along and changed my mind. Your God-ordained spouse came into the picture when the Lord showed them to you, or you asked him to know, and they were allowed access spiritually to you, or you them. But you came along and changed my mind. The way the Lord showed this person to you over the time frame allotted you the ability to get to know them in a way that you would have never thought that this particular person was, and it changed your mind about that person. For me, that's what he did with me. I've spent all my life on a search to find, and that's what's been the case for some of our God-ordained spouses, depending on what age they are. Some of y'all God-ordained spouses are older than you, and because your God-ordained spouses have been older, they have been set in their ways with relationships, and they pretty much figured it was old, dried up, not gonna happen. The love who stay for an eternity. They had enough heart, they had enough love, but they just couldn't find that right one person. Same for you. And you may be the one that's younger in the relationship. And because you're the one that's younger, you didn't have to go through as many stumbles as they went through, but you felt the same way. For me, I know when it came down to me, I went through one relationship. I said, I ain't doing this again. God, if you don't get me my husband, I'm not doing this again. It's going to be me and you. It's going to be me and you. Or it's just going to be me. But it ain't going to be me and nobody else if you don't send them. The heaven sent to fulfill my needs. God orchestrated this thing. It wasn't you. It wasn't them. This was all him. But when I turned around again, love knocked me down. For some of your God-ordained spouses, they've been through rotations of multiple relationships back and forth with multiple people, so on and so forth. And those relationships, they gave them a chance, they knocked them down again. They gave them a chance, they knocked them down again. They gave them a chance. It's like when you was a kid and you had a bully, and that bully would turn around every single time knowing that you were naive enough to come back and be like, ooh, as long as they said this, they knew you would come back, and then they would turn around and knock you back down again. So, check that later. With that being said, you went through it. Your heart got broken. Their heart got broken in previous relationships. And it hurt so bad. Some of us, the pain we went through in those relationships, this is why we have not been in any relationship since the last relationship. And for them, because of how many times they went through so much pain in several different relationships, they're like, look, I'm heart not giving. I'll do everything, but I'm not giving the heart. No, I'll be all right, but I ain't giving my heart over to them. I'm sad to say love wins again. Love's gonna win this one. God has an anointing of love between you and this particular person, and because it's God, it's good, and the love is right. So because it's God, it wins. So I placed my heart under lock and key. We've been talking about houses, keys, locks. Can I say that, Lord? The Lord showed me a set of keys. One of the hilts of the key was a wedding ring. The other key had two people or people within the hilt of the key. That's the people that you love, your loved ones. A key is necessary to unlock their heart, unlock your heart, unlock the marriage between the two. Okay? So you had your heart under lock and key. They could not penetrate, and were not letting anybody in as well. And you're going to give them the key. Spiritually, you may have already done so, but when the relationship comes into fruition, you will give them the key to that lock. You want me to say that? I had 3 different dreams about my God-ordained spouse over multiple different spans of time. In one, he handed me a key. In another, he was on one side of the wall, just like the glass windows that are in this room. And he was on one side, I'm on the other side, and he puts his hand up to the glass and he has a key in it. And it was another dream in which he exchanged keys with me. And that's them giving their heart's key to you. Some of them will just simply give you their heart. How did you get here? Nobody's supposed to be here. I tried that love thing for the last time. My heart says no. Nobody's supposed to be here. But you came along and changed my mind. They came in through the Lord's beginning to make your heart malleable, that broke down the walls and the barriers. Ephesians 2:14. And I just saw 2:14 on my clock. Oh, go ahead, Jesus. Where it states, Ephesians 2:14 is breaking the middle wall of partition between you and them. Your heart. Okay. This time I swear I'm through. They may have been, especially if they went through multiple relationships, they felt like, I'm not doing this again. I've dated too many. I've went through too many. I've experienced too many. I keep coming back to the same result. Why am I going to do this again? I'm not going to do this again. But if only you knew. We did not just go through the song, If Only You Knew, didn't we? Didn't we? How many times I said those words? Some of your goddamn spouses are lovers. You ever heard that old song by Michael Jackson, I'm a lover, not a fighter? And because their hearts are hearts of lovers, they're more willing and malleable to get into relationship with a person and fall in love hard. This is why some of them either have in previous relationships, especially after they've been through a relationship, choose to have seasons where they just jump around, because of the fact that they know that if they stay in any one particular place for too long, they're going to fall in love. It's just their heart. Their heart's like that. And they had to kind of close their heart off, so they were doing that kind of jump around. Or they were using other substances to prevent themselves from feeling anything when they were with said person. They were never in their presence without being under the influence of something so that they would not feel anything. Then fall again. When will I ever learn? Knowing these tears I've cried. I was listening to the radio the other night, and this is a good song. I don't know if the Lord want me to do a review on it, but it's the song by Brian McKnight called One Last Cry or something like that, which is a male's perspective on how they cried through the end of their relationship. It's the same. And then I also heard Usher's Let It Burn. So some of these men, and maybe that's what the Lord was trying to say, is some of these men, they went back one last time. They tried one last time. But this last time was the last time so that they could break it off completely, because that was their last cry and they letting it burn this time. They really are letting it go. I tried, but I can't do it, because they know this is it, because I had to make it, because God made it evident even in them going back that one last time. He showed them, oh, they just going to repeat what they did before. Gotta go. I'm going to have my last cry about this, but guess what? I'm going to let this burn. That's what they had to do. And now they are in transition to you. This lovely black butterfly must take a chance and spread my wings. That can be for you and that can be for them. How you choose to take it. But butterflies mean new beginnings. But a black butterfly may have a little bit of a different connotation when it comes down to the way that you see. Meaning you've been jilted, you've been hurt. So now you aren't colorful. You may be black because you've been hurt and you've been hardened emotionally. And so have they. So you're black butterflies. Love can make you do some crazy things. Insert the crazy thing which you did in the midst of your time frame of being in love. I got a couple things. This is why I didn't go into multiple relationships. I went back to the same person one time. After that, messed up again. Oh, done. Because he had me all spun around in my head. And some of these men, because of how good the you-know-what was, they were all spun around on the women that they were hooked up with. It was what it was. Some of us don't like hearing that. But yeah, it was what it was. So I placed my heart under lock and key to take some time and take care of me. Some of these men, y'all been begging, crying, falling out, doing all this kind of stuff. But these men needed some time. They didn't need as much time as we did. But they needed some time after coming out of that to do a full purge of self. To come into a realization of what went wrong in that. And the fact that it wasn't their fault. Forgive themselves because they know that they pursued those people and they know that they didn't act right and they know that some stuff came from things that they may have done or things that the experience, the relationship, it was in alignment with the person that they were, and they were walking in their counterfeit season, and now they're coming into a closer alignment with God or have come into a closer alignment with God. They have to let that go, and they had to come into all of this realization in a time frame. And some of us, admit it, was sitting there like, what's taking them so long? Oh my God. Why are we impatient? Because some of us been sitting there for about 5, 6 years or 7 years. But they may not have been sitting in a huge gap of time. Some of them may have actually been sitting in a short period of time. Some of them, they might have just gotten out of a relationship. Maybe they slipped and fell again. Just fell right back in it. But now they've come to a point where they're more willing to be like, you know what? I'm matured enough within this. I can't keep doing this. Not to myself. And the fact that I know that somebody is out there waiting for me. I cannot continue to operate like this. So they are moving past that. But I turned around and you're standing here. When they relinquish, release all of the emotions, deal with themselves, take care of all of that and all of that, we're going to be there. We're the ones that are going to be standing there. It's so interesting because Call Me Ruby's video, I wish I had the name of it in front of me. I'll see if I can look it up by the time we finish this. But in it, she talked about the woman was standing in the hallway waiting for the man to come out of what he was in the middle of, but had to wait for that to come to an end. How did you, standing here, how did you get here? How did we get there? Raise your hand. You know what you did. You prayed. You prayed your way into that standing position. We have been doing what? Standing for them. Yes. That's how we got there. That's exactly how we got there. Nobody. And a multitude of no's. Spiritually, they have been in denial. Some of them went back and forth on stuff with the counterfeit and all that, because it's like they saw you there. It's almost like we were in their peripheral vision, and they're like, I see somebody standing over here, but I'm not going to pay attention to the fact that this person is standing over here, because if I allow myself to give in to the fact, I'm still trying to figure out how they got there. And who is this person? Oh my God, how did this person, specifically this person, get here? Because I don't know who this person is. And they're in my secret place. How did they find their way into that? How? And they're standing. Not only are they standing, they're praying for me. They're doing all of this. How did they get here? How did that? And that's what God's saying. God's saying, I put them there. I put them up to it. I'll try this love thing for the last time. How did you get here? And it repeats the stanza. But you came along and you changed my mind. We're the ones that are going to change their mind and also have a deep impact on the changes in them. Because God did that. God opened that door. God had us spiritually in that place. Because of God. All right. So, what was I going to do? I was going to look up. There was something I need to look up. Hold on. So, the Call Me Ruby video's name is Your Full Circle Moment. So, this is what that video really is about. So if you want further confirmation, go watch Call Me Ruby's video called Your Full Circle Moment, because that really does express the male's perspective of what it's like to come out of what they're coming out of and see you standing there, standing for them. So yeah, that's for somebody. But, and it's 2:22. 22, open doors and shut doors. God is closing the door for the counterfeit. They're no longer going to have access. And then he's opening a door for you. All right. So I think I covered everything. So until next time, bye-bye.